barber since I was a kid. Q, he was a receiver back in the day. He don't really got to prove nothing because it's newspaper articles and stuff about him. But all the other barbers that thought that they, did a little something back in the day, man, I'll smoke you right now. Get out in the middle of the street and one of my favorite memories, my dad just smoked him.
Yo, what's going on? Gabe Henderson here from the Vikings Entertainment Network. Today we are starting a new content series. It's our pilot show. We like to call it Chopping It Up. Without further ado, we got 3 spectacular guests on today's show, starting with Alexander Mattison, Minnesota Vikings running back, Vikings wide receiver KJ Osborn, and the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Harrison Phillips. Fellas, appreciate you, talking shop with us. I think the first question I want to ask is to pose to the group. When you hear the word barbershop, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh man, barbershop. I think first thing that comes to mind is those memories. That's it's a different type of culture, type of I'd say the first mentorship you might have in your life might be in a barbershop, in a barber chair. So I think it's one of those things you kind of look back on. You just kind of reminisce on those times. I remember the days my dad, bring me and my brothers to the barbershop, and you might spend a little bit of time in there as a kid, a little bit longer time, but it's one of those times you just kind of look back on those memories, I think.
I mean, for me, barbershop wasn't something I was accustomed to growing up. It was more in college when I first would start to go to barbershop more and enjoy the whole process of it, I would say. But for me, it's now an escape. You know what I'm saying? You can go somewhere completely turned off. So much in our careers, you have to be on all the time. You're talking to a coach, a GM, exec. You have to be on at all time, your best self. And so you go to a barbershop and you can just sit, chill, cut it up like you were saying, and be your natural, authentic self.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's a little bit like you. When I was growing up, my dad cut my hair, so I just went in the kitchen. I got a little haircut, but when I went out to college and everything like that, it was more kind of like you were saying, it's an experience. It's people watching, you talking. On Saturdays, moms bringing their little sons in there. You get a little buzz cut, something like that. Just chopping it up again, just talking and experience, and a little bit of mentorship too.
Right, a lot of us, right? Y'all two got dreads, you got the brush cut. I don't know what I'm doing with my hair right now, but I feel like haircut is just a way of an expression, right? It's a way to express ourselves. Would you agree?
I think
that's fair.
I think it is. You'll see people get different colors in their hair or different designs or whatever. Like I said, just a way to express yourself for real.
Yeah, most definitely. I think you getting ready for an event. You want to feel that confidence, feel a little more pep in your step. You get a cut, you feel good. You look good, play good, like we say. So it's one of those things I think in life you kind of feel a little better. And then, like you're saying, the hair, the color in the hair, I got a little color in mine, got a little baby girl on the way, so I wanted to just, express that and tribute that. So that's why I got a little pink in the hair right now. People don't know. At first they thought it was red, and then let it bleed out a little bit. Now you see the pink, and then you hear the story behind it. It's that's an expression.
I think that my tattoos are pretty subtle. I don't know if you can kind of see one poking out, but they're kind of contained. I have 3 of them. I'm a man of faith, and so these tattoos that I had were through different tribulations that I've went through in my life and meant a lot to me, constant reminders of me. So I think that's probably a way I express myself. And we're talking about coming to the barbershop. See, my swag is anti-swag. So the only time I really have to go get cut up is when my fiance be like, hey, you gotta go get cut. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So when is that time of the year?
Well, it'll be about, a training camp just kind of goes and I'll look like Hagrid afterwards. And then she'll be like, you gotta go get cut up, But
outside of a cookout, what's the closest thing to a barbershop?
Locker room, man. Yeah, locker room.
Yeah, it's not really much like it. Where you just sitting around talking, and like you said, experiences, talking about stories. Funny stories. A lot of sports talk. There's a bunch of sports talk. Topics. The news, whatever. And you got people from from the OGs, the old heads who always been in the barbershop to the young guys, telling different stories, different experience. I mean, you've seen the movies the Barbershop 1, Barbershop 2. I mean, it's just like that.
Favorite barbershop memory?
Oh, like you said, the old heads, the OGs, they always talk mess to each other. And, back in my day, I was this. Back in my day, my dad got out in the middle of the street with, it was 2 of the barbers. They was all talking about you know, how they do it. So my barber, since I was a kid, Q, he was a receiver back in the day. He don't really got to prove nothing because it's newspaper articles and stuff about him. But all the other barbers that thought that they, you know, did a little something back in the day, man, I'll smoke you right now. Get out in the middle of the street and and one of my favorite memories, my dad just smoked him. And, you know, I was just, you know, as a kid, I'm like, my dad always talked about how fast he was, but then to like see him
He was
just take off, I said, oh, okay, hold on. And then so that was probably one of my favorite memories.
Was he fast?
Yeah, oh yeah. My dad, he used to run track running low tens, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Man, it's crazy because, like, sports is what brings us all together, right? But the fact that you get to express yourself through that platform, I think that kind of goes unnoticed. It's cool, like, to see you guys as humans.
Most definitely. It's one of those things, like, when you look at it from the outside perspective. I remember when I was a kid looking at people like Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, like, I'm looking up to these guys, molding my game after these guys, and they feel like untouchable. You know what I mean? In a sense, like, it feels like you can't even get within arm's reach of these people. So now, you know, talking to AP after a game, talking to Marshawn and like having conversations with these guys, and it's just like, man, like, when you look at it from the outside in, you look at it like, yeah, you kind of dehumanize a little bit, detach them from what they are, and as a human being, as a person that just is blessed to be doing what they love and making a career out of it. And that's, you know, that's all we are, just people that are, you know, living our dreams right now. Yeah.
Kind of on that tangent, like how things in football go full circle. It's like how many times, like when you were in high school looking at the college that you wanted to go to, you're now a teammate with the baller who was on that college. Or when you were in college, the guys who were like, and so like I remember when I was looking at the Pac-12, EK was balling out there at UCLA. And like now I get to like hang on double teams for him to go make some plays. And then Harrison Smith, when he was at Notre Dame, you know, I was kind of looking at like Stanford, Notre Dame, Duke, the higher education teams, and he was like balling out there. You know what I'm saying? Now he's my safety. Like, that's so cool how it all come full circle.
Like, do y'all have that conversation in the locker room with each other?
I always introduce. I'll be like, man, what's up? I'm a big fan. I think when I texted some of the guys, I was like, hey, just so you know, like, I'm a huge fan of yours. Been watching you since I was like, you know, not to age you guys a little bit, but I've been watching you for a minute. But yeah, I always let guys know I'm big fans.
I do that. I feel like most of the time, you know, especially in the receiver room, you know, we're pretty young besides Adam.
Yeah.
Now, I've let Adam know. So, but for me, it's most of the times on other teams. Like, you know, when I'm going against a guy, or not going against a guy, but another receiver. You know, I tell people, you know, I'm in the NFL, but I'm a fan too. Like, when I'm watching some of my favorite receivers that I had hanging up in my locker and, you know, in my mirror in the bathroom, and I had jerseys hanging up. I said, when defense is up, I'm right there on the sideline, just like a fan, so my seat a little bit closer. I said, like, I'm watching, I'm learning, and I might try what you did on the next drive, and I'll talk to him after the game, train with him in the offseason, you know, build connections and stuff like that. So
I'm excited for, like, this stage of my career on year 5. It's like those first few years when you're in the league, you only jersey swap with, like, your boys from college and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now I got enough notches under my belt that I can start swapping with the higher ups and going up the tree, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, now, you know, like, Sue had sent me a jersey last year. He's a guy that I've really looked up to quite a bit, you know what I'm saying? And, like, we'll play Green Bay this year. I'll probably ask for Kenny Clark, you know, knows that I've always respected. And, like, start to, you know, get some cool jerseys now where you used to, like, buy their jerseys, hang them on the walls. Now you got big King jerseys. He's playing with them. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Damn, yeah, and that's wild too, cause like me and Kenny's from the IE, from the area I'm from, back home. So like that's cool. Like even just seeing like full circle, how you saying that's someone that you respect and look up to and all, and then just like all the different connections that there are around the league is just wild.
What's the best jersey you got in your collection right now?
I mean, besides Dalvin, obviously, but man, I got some good ones. Maybe Kenny, Kenny Clark. I got DK's. It's pretty up there.
Worth a little more money there.
I got DK. He just got that bag. DK's up there.
I got my best friend named Tyler Mabry. Play tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. You know, you knew here, but you may not know my best friend. We grew up together since fifth grade, middle school, high school at IMG. Both went to college at Buffalo. He transferred to Maryland. I went to Miami. I mean, we grew up together since the 5th grade. So, you know, both from the same city, both made it to the NFL together since, you know, the sandbox, literally. So we jersey swapped. We jersey, and like the first year we couldn't do it because of COVID, and then like we wanted to wait till we were both active. He was on practice squad. He got called up.
Wow.
And then so we was able to do that. So that was like talk about full circle. Like that was like I'll tell you that's like one of the best gifts I've ever received.
Yeah,
that's dope.
You probably know guys like from the same area that just like had better talent but like didn't make it. Like, is there ever any survivor's remorse that kind of motivates you to like stay the course?
I mean, if there is, it's not out of pity, I would say. I think I always make it very clear when I talk to like kids below us, there's some things that are completely out of our control, and the reason that we're sitting here on the Vikings, and that's again because of my faith. That's God that did that for us. But on the other side of the spectrum, those things that were in our control, we controlled.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know y'all too well yet. We're just becoming teammates. But in 2 years from now, if they say, hey, tell me a word about Harrison Phillips, I want them to say he's the hardest worker I've ever met. And so like the coming out early to practice, the staying late, the extra workouts, the sticking around in the offseason, those things that you can control, like those are more valuable to me. And guys like this and guys that Coach O'Connell and Kwesi have brought in here are guys that I think have proven time and time again that there's a reason that they're here, so they shouldn't feel guilt for accomplishing something like that, in my opinion.
I feel the same way, and that's what I tell people. Like you said, it's another reason why we're here. Like our faith. I'm blessed. Everybody. There's some people that want to be taller, some people that want to be faster, bigger. Those are things out of our control. But I did a lot of work to get here too.
I'm at a point now, I kind of have, I guess you could say another perspective too, like you were saying, I kind of have that perspective. You play the cards you're dealt, and then you make the decisions. You control what you can control. But like earlier on, that's why I'm a big advocate for mental health, is because I really struggled with, I felt like I was living a life that somebody else was supposed to be living. My uncle, he was a All-American in high school in Texas, 6'2", 230, running 4.3, running back, and he had a full ride to Oregon State. And excuse me for getting a little deep, but he had a full ride to Oregon State, and something happened to a class he had to make up from his freshman year. They didn't let him know that the online class he took was going to make him ineligible. So he lost his Oregon State scholarship. Goes down a long road of, had to go to JUCO. Then he broke his ankle, and it was kind of like one of those things. He had to bounce back, and it was a constant bounce back for him. And he ended up going into the Army, and then now he's sitting in jail right now because of some life decisions and some PTSD that he's been dealing with. And now he's getting some help. They're doing everything right to try and make sure that he has the help that he needs for that mental health and to make sure that you get your life back on track. But for me, sitting through those years of watching that, someone who's not too far in age of me, there's I think 4 or 5 year age gap, and it was super rough. When I got drafted, oh man, it was rough, because I was just like, I'm living the life that he's supposed to live. But that's when I just looked at it, and God opened windows. God put me in positions to make certain decisions and overcome certain adversities, and everyone's testimony is different, and that's why we're all sitting here. Blessed to be in the position that we're in. Even for you, I didn't even know that you played ball and was balling like that until I went on Twitter, saw you balling, and so just the fact that your path led you to be here today. You might not be a player on the Vikings, but you have a very important role, and that we all really appreciate what you do. And so I really had to come to that perspective, and that's why even through a lot of things that I've been through, that was one of the heavier tones on my mental health. So I'm a real big advocate for that.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I think that story, for the viewers that's listening, it's only going to inspire them. My last question to the group is, numbers are numbers, right? Facts are facts. Stats is what keeps us in the league. But how do we create this feeling that we have right now? Like unity, you just said, I don't really know you guys as much as I want to just yet, but how do we create this?
I think just being around each other, man. I feel like I have a little bit different perspective because I came in the COVID year. I came in, in the locker room, there wasn't TVs and couches. We had to be separated for lunch and, all types of things like that. And, my first, year or two, well, I guess I'm going on year 3. my first year, I didn't feel like, when people would ask me how I was in the NFL, I was like, it doesn't feel like that college family vibe where it's like, I feel like we was all together for those 16, 17 games, and then we all go our separate ways. But then we came together for like one goal, and then we split up. But like now, I feel like with COVID going, I can only speak for myself. Like we're able to do things like this, and we're able to be in the cafeteria together. We be able to be in the locker room, in passing time and just chop it up and talk to each other and go to one another's houses and cookouts and things like that. That's making us closer. Even the lift groups like KO, like he split us up. Offense, defense, or I'm lifting with a Daniil Hunter. I got a chance to go to London with him and just talking to different sides of the ball, different positions, things like that. Just having those conversations, I think that's what makes us closer and helps us be a team.
Absolutely, I agree.
I'll maybe say vulnerability in a sense. Like I know trying to get to know guys more here. My pressing question to them is like, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to go through in your life? And so they could open up as much as they want with that or as little as they want with that, but it kind of gets me to know our teammates a little bit. And one thing that a lot of people, all of us have in common is we've struggled through something, right? It could be an injury, it could be death, could be a financial burden, whatever it is. Like we've all struggled through something. And so I think getting vulnerable and again, hanging our hat on one thing that we all have in common type of thing. We build something so close where in 2 months from now, we're going to be boys. You know what I'm saying? You'll be coming over the spot, we'll be double dating, the whole thing. But the reality of it is that when the season ends, the turnover is ridiculous. Right. So I've 5 NFL seasons. I mean, very few of them are the same teammates. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough thing. It's unique that we have this ability that you can get so close to the team, come together, be best friends forever, and then see ya. It's crazy. It's crazy business.
Man. I think, just like y'all said, the easiest way and the most fun way that we're able to make this environment feel like family and feel like best friends and feel like, we can go do that, it's just, like you said, chopping it up, chopping it up. And we're blessed to be able to just be in a position where we meet guys from all walks of life and come together and just really be able to just accept one another, embrace one another, and go get it at the end of the day.
Well, fellas, look, I appreciate your time. I always say, you guys are football players, but you're humans first, and you just so happen to be good at football. So as long as you guys keep that perspective, I think one day at a time, we'll all continue to change the world. So appreciate you.
I don't know. These two are good at football. I don't know.